misconceptions about voodoo then?
Oh my God. That voodoo is, to control people, that it makes zombies out of people. Like, oh my God. Like, voodoo is, that's just the craziest shit I've ever heard. I mean, voodoo is an adaptive religion that makes itself at home in any religion. AKA, people of color have to adapt and make themselves, integrate themselves into any society that they were put in, and they did, and they were brilliant at it. That's what voodoo is. I mean, the reason that a snake is worshipped is because the mother of us all is this earth, and whose heart lays its ass on the earth all the time but a snake. Snake's heart is right on the mama all the time.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's why there's a snake in the yard right now that I uncovered when I was watering stuff, and like, I'll cover her back up and leave her alone. I hope she has babies. I hope they fill the whole yard. They're not poisonous, but it's a respect thing. And I mean, voodoo has been taken by white people and turned into a cartoon. It's like a goddamn minstrel show, and that's not what it is or what it means at all. But no one cares about that.
What do they do?
Just like this lady, Rosary O'Neill, wants to put on a show about Marie Laveau and a vampire, and use our altars to do that. To put on her stage. And think that she's going to get all this shit out of Risa and me and just run off and use it. And she's like, she gets residencies in Europe. She gets a lot of money. She gets money from universities. Like, this lady is like cashing in. She's from New Orleans. She's an Irish woman from New Orleans who grew up really, really wealthy in the 50s. She's an older lady.
Do you believe that voodoo should only be practiced by people of color?
No. I think voodoo is for anyone who wants to use it. I think voodoo is one of the most adaptive and easy and open and generous religions that ever existed.
Right. What was I going to say? What are some of the other ways that white people cartoonize voodoo?
Well, I mean, they scare people with it. They make people afraid of it. AKA like Maya Deren, that what is it, the divine horseman. The myth is that Maya Deren died because she was into voodoo. Maya Deren died because it was Maya Deren's time to die. I mean, she was this white lady who went to Haiti and tried to interpret all of these. Remember, she was a filmmaker, an avant-garde filmmaker, and she had real respect, and she really was honest, and they even turned her into a cartoon.
Because is this? I don't know if I'm getting it wrong, but is this the case where it's almost like, because the story goes, because she did this research, she was cursed, and that's why she...
Yeah. And apparently, like, her refrigerator slid all around her Manhattan apartment, and there's lots of mythology around her and her research of voodoo.
Now, how do you know if someone practices voodoo authentically?
You don't, because you can't tell what's in somebody's heart. And it's a personal responsibility. I mean, voodoo is a community type religion when you are able to get with a group and have a place to be. But most practitioners are loners because this is not an accepted thing, and so there aren't many. It's not like you can go to church, really.
How many loas are there?
Lots.
And you don't have to know all of them by heart, or do you have to know?
No, you don't have to, but I mean, you're going to have affinity with one or the other, and then as you practice, you'll start to learn different ones and what they do and why.
How long have you been practicing?
I can't even remember not. I mean, the grandmothers that I was showing you, they didn't admit that that's what they were practicing. They hid it in Catholicism, like slaves did. And
That's what I was talking about. You know, when I was saying, like, we know that my grandmother did the things that she did, but we don't understand why or where it came from.
Mm-mm.
So it's not, and I don't really, I know that just my family, like, nobody ever said this is what it, like,
no, nobody ever said anything.
Yeah, nobody ever said that word. But it was just things that we would do or talk about or whatever. It's just like, that's why everybody would always want to come and see my grandmother's altar. Like, every time a new priest would come, they would want to come and see her altar, because it was my grandmother's great-grandmother's altar.
Wow.
So there were things in there and stories, and she would write stories on the palms from Palm Sunday.
Wow.
Like on those little palms.
I have some in the garage. I saved them for the altar.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that kind of stuff. But when you go to like a traditional Anglo family, Catholic family, they don't have no altar in their house.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that. I've never seen
Just
that.
No, my grandmother hid it. Like, what she would do things like, she had this baby food jar that she used an ice pick and hit the ice pick on the lid of the baby food jar and made holes in it. And she would get holy water or get her moon water that she would charge up on a full moon and put it in the baby food jar and use it to, like, you know how, like, the priest is like blessing you. She would do that to her bed before she took a nap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a nap. Bless, 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 bless. You know, I didn't know why she was doing the things she was doing, as Tracy says. I just did them.
What other rituals did you just do?
Like, oh my God, tons and tons of, this is how deep this is. I was in the Goodwill.
Of course you were.
I was in the
They
Goodwill.
find everything
I was
at
in the
Goodwill,
Goodwill on Ambassador Caffrey, and this woman came into the Goodwill, and she had her phone in her hand. She was really, really pretty, really pretty woman of color. And the guys came out of the back. Obviously, they knew her. Hey, girl, how you doing? How you doing? Right. So they asked her, how do you feel about your man and his new girlfriend? And she said, do you want to see a picture of her? And they were like, well, yeah. So she gets on her phone and she pulls up the picture. She shows it to them. And they said, woo, that's Tatai. I was like, and I laughed. And they looked at me like, why the fuck are you laughing? Tatai is like a demon or a ghost. It's like, you know, we used to say that there were tatais in pumpkins.
Okay.
And it's stupid. Anyway, he said, oh, that's a tatai. He was giving her the credit that she's prettier than the new girl.
Wow.
Right. So he's basically saying she's a troll. And I laughed because I was in line behind her to check out, and they look at me like, "Whoa, what do you think you're laughing at?" I said, "Oh, I don't think she's Tatai. I think she's Kushma. So, and Kushma is a different demon." The one that will sit on your chest while you're sleeping and you can't move. It's like sleep paralysis. Like you're half awake and half asleep. Well, my grandmother used to tell me, all you got to do with the kushma is take a bunch of pennies and put them in a circle by your bed, because kushma are stupid and they're greedy. And they'll start counting those pennies thinking they're going to get some money. And if they're in a circle, they go round and round and round and they count all night long and they can't sit on you.
Wow.
So that's you know, and this is like normal conversation in a Goodwill and whatnot.
Wow. What other? Any other ones that are vivid?
Like, God, you know,
Maybe like illness, to ward off illness.
well, or if you to ward off illness, you can steep a bunch of cockroaches in some whiskey and drink it. Or you can sit inside of the armoire with the doors closed. Could you pray in the armoire?
Oh.
You know, I mean, there's a billion of them. Like, I mean, things that you do. I take brick dust. Take the bricks outside. They're. You saw when the freeze happened. My bricks swelled up and then they contracted again, and so they shard it off. So I take whatever's chunky out there and use the mallet and pound it into dust so that I can make the borders of the house so that nobody can get in here. Nobody comes in here. 'Cause I need the brick dust.
So what's your you have a contrasting opinion about New Orleans. What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, my mom and dad lived in New Orleans when I was born. I think New Orleans is like a really, really charming boyfriend who's fabulous at sex, but who treats you really shitty. So like sometimes you'll go to New Orleans and it will be the best time of your life. You will just think, oh my God, I'm gonna move here. And then the next time you go to New Orleans, it will be so violent and weird, and the vibe will be so weird that you're like, well, fuck, I thought you liked me. You know, New Orleans itself is an entity, and it's in a different mood every time you go there.
Yeah.
Every time you go there.
It breathes.
It totally does.
It breathes.
Yeah.
It breathes?
Yeah.
Breathes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does.
So you don't know what you're gonna get when you go in for the day. You're gonna be great. It's like approaching somebody who's very capricious, and you never know what mood they're gonna be in.
What about the commoditization of Creole culture?
Well, that's all about Aunt so and so's pralines and
Right.
the bullshittery of like all the little mammy figurines that are sold, and Creoles in particular, the system of placage and the balls and all that bullshit that's not even true.
Who's these like the concubine balls? Stuff
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Like mamas were just out en masse selling their daughters' asses. That did not happen. I'm sorry, it just didn't happen. I mean, I'm a parent. It didn't happen. As if.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe there were deals like that made, but it certainly was not a thing, like a